Hello and welcome back to the Battle Camp. So look, all right, so I've been doing this YouTube stuff for over a year now, and the gentleman who's sat next to me, Danny Graft. How you doing, Danny? All right?
Very well, mate. Very well, thanks.
So I got a follow from Danny Graft on Instagram, and I wasn't sure if it was by mistake or whatnot. And then so I was like a Jezebel. I messaged you, I DM'd you, and I was like, "Did you mean to do that?" Like, yeah, I've seen a couple of your videos, and actually, that was the first time someone that isn't my mate, or someone that I've met through the internet and that just randomly followed me on Instagram because of my YouTube stuff. So I kind of that was a good moment for me from doing all of this stuff because I don't get a lot of views and stuff like that. So thank you so much for that. I want to say right off the bat.
We've got to start somewhere, mate. We've got to start
Yeah.
somewhere. No, mate. I thought it was class. Like I've only been into MMA myself for like probably maybe 5 years. My little cousin got me into it. He started training it when he was 14. Yeah, he was a little tearaway. Always loved to scrap, and it gave him a bit of structure. Now he's proper dedicated. He's good, really good at it. Shout out Lewis Green. He's over at New Wave Academy, and he's a big prospect. Yeah. But so he got me into it, and just over the years, I mean, probably you'll feel the same being an Arsenal fan. These last few years have been tough, so I've needed another outlet. I've needed to take my foot off the football and else, and now become probably just as, or even more so, into MMA than football, because it's just a whole different thing. It's a lot easier. You're not as tied to one thing like with Arsenal if they're doing shit.
It's not as emotional, is it? It's not as like yeah. All your eggs are in one basket with football, same as me. So I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. So but yes, I got right into it. I listened to a lot of different podcasts, and I can't remember what fight it was after. It might have been Adesanya Costa. It might have been after. I'm not sure, but I was just on the internet looking for more stuff, watch a thing, and I come across you, and then I thought it was really interesting. And I see the Arsenal shirt in the background, so I thought, right, he's class. He's a gooner. I got to support. And then it turned out you were a big Manor fan, which made me laugh, man. When you said you used to listen to us on the train, I'm thinking, what's the chances?
Yeah. So I was going to get to that actually, because clearly, obviously, I forget the name of the album now, because it was a good like 6-7 years ago now, wasn't that? What?
Don't do what we did.
Yeah. Was that your first album? Was it?
It was our fourth album, well, first proper album. We did 3 mixtapes before that. But project. We haven't done
project. Yeah, people call it nowadays.
There you go, project. Yeah. And full project, but last proper like long project that we've done, because we've been in label deals since then, and it's just a nightmare really. They don't labels, unless you're completely smashing it, getting big chart hits and whatever. They don't want to put money into an album. They don't want to take that chance. So it's been a while. We're due another one. Hopefully this year we'll get another one out.
So all right, let's go back then. So the Manor, how did the Manor begin then? How did that start?
Fucking hell, it was basically born out of us. We come out of uni, and me and John, 2 of the boys in the band, we both did economics, got our degrees, come out, and it was
what uni did you go to?
I went Royal Holloway.
Oh, that's a good uni, that is.
It's good. Did you? Yeah. To be fair, I didn't really like it.
Yeah.
Big fan. No, it was too close to home for me. I should have it didn't have that proper like city feel either. It was in Windsor, for fuck's sake. That was the nearest. I wish I'd gone up north or something. But yeah, I went over Royal Holloway. Johnny was down in Brighton, and when we finished uni, we just decided we didn't really want to go into the city and do finance. If we wanted to give music, it's always been our passion from kids. So we thought we'd give it a crack, and it took about probably 5 years before we got anywhere with it, before we started getting crowds down to gigs and making any sort of money off it. And it's been a long old journey with it, to be fair.
So but then at that point there was just 2 of you, because it's 3 in total, right?
No, sorry to leave Scotty out. Yeah, no, there was me and John went uni. Scotty had been knocking about around the way. He's a bit of a Del boy. It was Scotty while we got together. His cousin was a producer. He took us down to the studio for the first time, and we just went from there.
So when did you write your first lyric?
First lyric was first ever lyric. I still remember doing it. Was when I was 10. I don't know why I did. I was just in my bedroom, and I wrote this like little proper moody R&B song. Probably about a girl I fancied in primary school. But yeah, that was my first lyric. It's something about girls. I think the song was called These Girls.
But an actual song, could you sing or can you sing?
I can't sing, but I thought I could. I realised, it took me a little while to realise I could rap, but yeah, it's always been about girls, whether I've sung or rapped.
But going back to actually rapping, so you had that song about Arsenal that actually done quite good numbers on YouTube that was the first time I actually saw you, to be fair. And I was surprised because I think I'd heard a couple Manor songs, but I hadn't seen any, like, I don't know whether you like made videos in it, because it's quite a while back. Like, it wasn't how it is now, when like it wasn't readily available. Like, I don't know whether SBTV was just starting out and them kind of channels were just starting out and stuff like that. I don't know. But I think I had heard a couple the Manor songs, but I didn't know you was in the group, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. I see what you
then
mean.
I saw that Arsenal song, and then I kind of put two and two together. Like, oh shit, it's the same geezer.
Yeah. Now the Arsenal, you know that Arsenal one, and it like even it was like we didn't really want to drum on too much because it becomes a bit novelty. But that was purely born out of the fact that I'd listened to so much Talk Sport, and they were just cunting Wenger every day, and this was probably before he deserved any stick. Like, he was, I mean, we hadn't won for a long while, but looking back now, we were playing the sort of football that we dream of playing now. Do you know what I mean? And I just thought it was very unwarranted. And it was Adrian Durham. He was the inspiration behind it. He completely done my nut.
I was the same, because I used to work. I can't remember, around that sort of era. I don't know whether it's the exact same time frame, but I used to work in this place. It was like over an hour drive, and I used to go home listening to like Adrian Durham every day.
Yeah.
And I used to like, like you work, right? And you're at work, innit? So you're not in the best of moods. And then like you get in your car, and that's your chance to like just unwind and like, you get yourself in a better mood. And I used to come home even more pissed off than I was in the office.
Mate, it's masochistic, innit? We all do it. It's the same with, I don't know, internet trolls and things. We do seek out, I think, a lot of the things that just wind you up. Like if I can't stand someone on the internet, I'll go on their profile and I'll keep looking at it. I'm thinking, why am I looking at this cunt? He's doing me head in. And you just do it. It's weird. And now I've tried to switch it up recently. A little tip I found is classical music. That's my new unwinder now. If I'm stressed out, I'm angry, if I put classical music on, try to do it in the morning, sets me down nice, and I'm nice and calm and relaxed.
Yeah, see, I do. I know exactly what you're on about, because there's a couple of people that like have like boxing channels and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
I don't agree with anything they ever say, but I still every now and again, because I'll see a tweet and then I'll watch the video, and someone will have it in there, and I'll watch it, and I'll just like start getting worked up about it and think, oh, I've got to make I've got to make a video about this, but I never get to making a video, because after a while I catch myself doing it, and I think, what the fuck, man? Just
why does I care? Yeah.
It's not
a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. Right, man. It's the internet, man. It's got everyone a bit competing and fucking.
Well, I don't know. Now, with lockdown and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, this is it. There's we all need our outlets.
Yeah. But let's go back to your band. And so when did you first when did you start getting a bit of traction and the opportunity to get signed and all of that kind of stuff? Like, when did that come about then?
It's been very, I think it's why we've lasted as long as we have, because it's all been quite slow and steady. Like we've had little bits of attention along the way, and things have happened, little milestones, but it's all slowly built. And we've gone from doing gigs where there was 4 or 5 people, just our mates, where we've literally turned up and only our mates we've brought were there to watch us, to now just recently, before lockdown, we sold out Brixton Academy, 5,000. So it's been a very steady journey. We first got signed in 2016. And even at that point, like we've been doing it for 6 years. We nearly quit like the year before. We come back, give it one more go, did that album that you liked yourself, the Don't Do What We Did. And that was sort of the springboard to getting signed.
So you weren't signed at that point? That album was just
No, that was all done. That was literally we called it the retirement album. We'd done these 3 mixtapes that we hadn't charged for. This was the first tape where it'd been produced properly, like we weren't covering any beats. It was all our own material.
Yeah.
And it was the first one we were putting on iTunes. So we were like, look, we're gonna sell this album. That's it. We make a little bit of money, do a retirement gig. And then our plan, like my plan was to go France and just have a laugh out there. I don't know what I thought I was going to do. Just go and have a drink, try and pull some French girls, fuck knows, and busk.
Well, you got no family or nothing like that. You just were just gonna get.
No, tell a lie. To be fair, the reason was thinking back was my pal had been traveling. He'd met a French girl who ended up singing on that album. She was the vocalist.
Oh, that French girl. Yeah, that's
yeah.
I know.
Emma Bonita. Yeah. So he was going out to live out there for a bit, and I was like, you know what, I'll come out there with you and see what's happening. I was just gonna go and chance it. But yeah, it kicked on, and then we got signed. That fucking, I mean, getting signed was the stupidest thing because we'd never had any money. For 6 years, we'd just been labouring, doing whatever. So for the first time, we had fucking dough, and it all come in one chunk. So
because you got signed, like, was that like?
Yeah, we all basically we got like 2 years decent salary in one day. Yeah, so you can imagine us lot going from having no readies to all of it in your bank account. Yeah. I was literally just turning up to the pub, buying everyone a drink, inviting everyone back to mine, paying for everyone's whatever they need to have a good time. And I was doing this on a daily. Like we spunked the deal in about 6 months, and then we were fucked up. We got kicked out of the deal by about a year because we didn't make those songs.
So that money, what was that, like an advance for you to pay for making music, basically? Is that what it was?
No, so I mean, so technically they give you money to live on. They give you money to survive throughout the deal, and then they'll have a budget. Well, they'll have an idea of a budget that they want to spend on your music, so that'd be a separate thing. So that money is yours. We spent what was ours, and then depending on how well the project's going, they'll invest more or they'll invest less in what you're doing.
Fuck, and you lot just pissed it up the wall and.
Yeah, well, we pissed our money. Yeah, well, that's the tough thing because if you spend all your dough when you're in a label, all your means of earning money go to them. So unless you have a hit record and then pay off your advance, essentially, then you ain't going to earn any more money until you do your next deal. So you get to a position where you're like, fuck, I've spent on my dough and I can't earn from anything else. Luckily, we got out the deal because at that point we weren't going to make any more. Do you know what I mean?
So when you came out of that situation, then did you have to get a job or go back to work or what? Like, what was that feeling like?
Well, yeah, we were very close. So we got like a little settlement payoff, which was like the remainder of the deal, and then literally it got to. Let me think. When did we get jogged? It must have been. Yeah, it was like January of 2018, and I remember I had literally no money, and we had a massive tax bill coming up. And I was down the pub and I'm literally going to have to go back to work. I'm going to have to go back to labouring or whatever. And then I had a bet on my pal who gambles a lot, said, look, let's back this double. And it was corners, yellow cards, all that bollocks, and half time, full time, whatever. And I never gamble at all. And one of them was the Arsenal game. And the second one was Liverpool City. And I ended up winning, I think it was $2,000. Off this bet, and that kept me going for like another 3 months.
Like your tax bill paid as well, then, or what?
Well, the tax, you know what I found, but let's not talk about the tax anymore. I'm all right with the tax. To be fair, but I don't want to tempt fate. But yeah, no, but yeah, it kept me afloat. And then we got signed again 3 months later. Our manager pulled it out of the bag because usually if you fuck up a deal, you don't get another one. But we got literally in the same week, we got told we were going to support Mike Skinner on the Streets tour, or support the Streets on the Streets tour.
So that's a good fit for your kind of sound as well, wasn't
it? Yeah, massive. And we've always been huge fans. It's inspired. We call ourselves the Manor, the Streets. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so we found out that, and then we found out we were getting signed again in the space of a week. So literally, it was another thing of just going from thinking I'm absolutely fucked to having a load of readies again. And it took a bit longer, but we did the same thing again.
So this second deal that you got, so what was it? How many albums? What was the deal that you
both of them were meant to be an album deal. I don't think I should be saying. We like to keep a lot of this under wraps, but you know, fuck it. If I'm asked a question, I'll always tell the truth.
Yeah.
So, but we were meant to be a 1 album deal for both of them, but like I say, they play it by ear. So if they'll want to see traction in some singles, they want to see a top 20 before they go, right, we're going to put all this money into an album. Because I mean, what labels are good at is a campaign. So if they do an album, they do it the right way, they pay the right PR, the right pluggers and everything else. But they're not good at getting you to that point where you need an album. And a lot of times we've had that momentum and then gone into a label deal and they've tried to send us in the wrong direction and make something that ain't really us, or it's slowed things down. It just, timing wise, it just hasn't been beneficial for us. And we've probably got to the point where we were ready to put an album out. A label's thought, well, this is working, let's have a go. And then it's sent us in the wrong. I don't think, to be honest, we're really label acts. When we don't make the type of music that's meant to chart. We make,
but what is like, yeah, what sorry to interrupt you, but what is like,
no, go ahead.
What is a label act? Because nowadays you see all these like I'm quite, you know, obviously I listen to a lot of UK kind of hip hop, grime, whatever you want to call it. But there was a time when that kind of music wasn't, you know, a label act, but now they're all charting and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, I understand when you say your niche, the kind of music that you guys create isn't kind of popular. When I say popular, it's not popular UK hip hop kind of that kind of sound. If that makes sense. You know what
I mean? The funny thing is, the music we started out making when we first made our mixtapes, we were doing like more the sort of stuff that's on the radio now, more hip hop based, slower, and we actually changed up our sound. Because after 3 tapes, I mean, we got a bit bored of doing hip hop anyway, but we said, let's do something that's a little bit more likely to cut through. And we thought, fuck it, we like garage and house, let's do garage and house. And we started doing that. And then as we did that, the tide sort of turned the other way and went more towards hip hop. And it's all, again, with music, it's all about timing. It's all about catching the waves at the right time and whatever. And again, for me, it's like, as long as I'm making a good living, that's always been a thing. If I'm making a good living, I'm enjoying what I'm making, I'm enjoying my time with the band, we're going out and doing big gigs, then I'm not really too fussed, which is why when we're in the label deals, we're sitting there thinking, well, look, we're making good money off our gigs, making good money off our merch. I don't really need to be worried about making a song that potentially is going to turn off the people that are coming to see us every week as well. We're thinking, no, let's keep making what's making us money and making them happy and making us happy.
Yeah. So going back there then, so do they have that much of an influence on the kind of sound or the music that you guys produce? Like, do they kind of have a say to say no? They
do, and it depends. Like we've been lucky we've ended up making what we like, which in the end,
that's what I was going to say, because like it just sounds so authentically you lot.
We haven't really changed. Like the first, particularly the second deal, we did everything we wanted and we can't complain. Like literally any tune we wanted to back. We had a great A&R, Joe Etchells, great product manager, Ella, and everyone supported what we wanted to do. And probably at times to our own detriment, because we potentially could have done things that might have crossed over and kept us in a deal or whatnot. But like I say, we wanted to protect our own people. But it's more so at times, it's just, there's certain things the label wants you to do that like put you in certain sessions with people who just ain't gonna mesh with you and you ain't gonna click with. And at times when we were in the first deal, I was just like, I don't even want to make music because I'm sitting there trying to bang my head against the wall and make a song that I can't make well anyway. And it got to the point where I thought, fucking hell, can I even rap? I was sitting there because everything you're sending to the label, they're going, nah, it ain't thing. And it's like, well, why'd you sign us? Like, if you don't like what we do. Do you know what I mean? And it was
so these sessions that you're on about, what is that with like certain producers, other artists, like, you know, singers or rappers and stuff like that you deal with?
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything music. It's like we're fucking probably some of the worst people to work with ourselves. We turn up and just get absolutely out of nuts most of the time. We've calmed down a bit as the years have gone on, but certain times, like when we first went and met Daneo, like I'd done an all-nighter because I didn't have a verse written, so I'd done an all-nighter trying to write my verse, and we've turned up with a crate of Stellas to his studio. He's never met us before, and he was just looking at us like, who the fuck are these cunts? Not slept. Crate of beers. And then for the second session, he was like, right, boys, we were like, do you want any booze? He was like, no, let's leave the booze out this time. Like fair play. But he likes to drink like the rest of us, to be fair, Daneo, but he just thought we were a bit much. But no, I mean, most people have been sweet as, but it's just, I don't know. I think me personally, I prefer as well. What I like, a lot of the best things I think I've done is when I've been on my own, like when I'm just writing through words. And between the three of us, a lot of times we just send each other something, and then that inspires us. Whereas when you get into a studio, a lot of times, and particularly when you're smokers or you drink and you're just in sort of in this enclosed environment and you feel, I don't know, for me, I feel a little bit claustrophobic at times in studio sessions, and everyone's got their own different methods how they approach it, and it ain't always going to click. But then other times it does, and you make something.
But you got to catch a sweet spot when everyone's on the same kind of level of drunkenness, or stoned or whatever.
This is it. If
someone's too fucked and the other person isn't, then I suppose it's like.
We put them on our Instagram before. There's a session where John's sitting there, and he's trying to make a tune with a producer, and he turns around and you can just see me passed out like this, and Scotty's got like his legs in the air spazzing out, and it's like just a complete state. And bless him, John's always he treats studio like he's turning up to work or turning up to school. Like he goes in and thinks, I've got to get music. Whereas I'm more like, I like to turn up and have a laugh with the person. And if I don't get nothing done, I don't get nothing done.
But I'd like, I don't know, like you've got a degree in economics, which probably means you're quite disciplined, like you're able to discipline yourself. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, at times. I mean, but that's sort of why I chose this, because I didn't want to be disciplined. I mean, even uni, again, John was the same. Like, we did nothing really work-wise. We both failed the first year miserably. So we had to repeat it. And then we did more work in probably the last 4 to 6 weeks, probably say 6, I'd probably say a month, more work in the last month of uni than I did in the whole 4 years combined. It was just to get it done.
Just scraping by until then, innit? And then
yeah, man.
Final stretch.
And luckily I had a good memory. I mean, it's getting worse as we've aged, but I've always been blessed a bit with a memory. So.
So how's COVID affected you guys then? Because obviously you had Brixton Academy sold out. You didn't get to do that, did you?
No, we were literally the first week. The first week, it was like on the build. The worst thing was like people messaging us going, "Is it going to happen?" And we're like, "Well, we don't know." And we were sort of put in a position where it was very tricky. It was very tricky with because we couldn't cancel it. We couldn't say it was cancelled until the government officially cancelled it, or we'd lose out on the insurance. And it was all the things. So in the end, it got to like the very last day, and then we had to tell everyone that it weren't happening on the Friday. Like we found out on the Thursday, and then let everyone know the day before, which was just complete load of bollocks. It was a come, but at the same time, we were hoping it would go ahead, but then at the same time, we're thinking, well, do we want to do this potentially? Because no one really knew what it was about at the time either. But we were thinking potentially this could cause a load of people to get it.
5,000 people washed in next to each other. I don't know who's passing what.
This is it. But at the time, it was annoying because you had Cheltenham go ahead and you had fucking the Liverpool game, and you're thinking, well, we're the first cunts to suffer here, aren't we? And they weren't closing the book. Well, let's not get too much into all that.
But like the trade-off was basically if you lot cancelled the gig yourself because you were concerned of the safety of the people that are turning up. Yeah, it's going to cost you money effectively, right? Because if you cancel it yourself.
Yeah, if we cancelled it, then we would have had to. Essentially, it would have cost. We would have had to pay for everything, but because of when it officially got cancelled, then we could cancel it and everyone would get paid back and whatnot. So,
and was that the start of the tour? Was it or just a one-off gig? Was it going to be?
Well, it was. We were going to do a tour later in the year. To be fair, we were actually. I'm trying to think back. We were planning on doing. Sort of spreading it out. We'd done a tour. We'd done the streets tour before and the other tour. And we know what we're like again on tours. We smash it. And by the time you get to the 6th show, we ain't half as good as we were on the first because we're fucked.
Yeah.
But we wanted to, so we were going to plan on doing just big shows in the big cities where we know we've got fans and just spread it out throughout the year. And as well, because I want stuff to look forward to rather than do your old tour and then you got nothing for another year. So we were going to plan to spread it all out throughout 2020. We hadn't done any gigs. We hadn't done any festivals for 2 years because the year before we parted ways with our booking agent, which cost us that summer. So it was just a pain, man. We'd been waiting a long while to just get back at it, and it just come at the wrong time. I ain't going to sit and cry because look, a lot of people been hit a lot worse, but it was annoying, man.
The timing of it, yeah. I mean, everyone's got plans, right? Do you know what I mean? Everyone had plans, and everyone.
This is it.
But like, I mean, like someone like me, like I didn't really have any major plans. That it might be on a holiday or something. Do you know what I mean? Nothing to work and my professional career and that. So
again, I mean, as much as I was gutted about that, I would sacrifice all of that just to be able to go to the pub now. Or fucking, do you know what I mean? Like,
I know.
Honestly, I would trade a hell of a lot right now for a little slice of normality. Like, I'll go back to labouring. If that's what it took. If the world could go back to normal, I'll go back to minimum wage labouring. I'll never rap again, quite happily. Like, I would, you know what I mean? I mean, there's everyone's made big fucking sacrifices and had their fucking lives turned upside down. It's bad, man.
It is. So you guys are doing a podcast now. Like the band, the Manor, are doing your own podcast, right?
Yeah. Free the Geezer. It's we did the first season a couple of years back, which was sort of targeted at mental health sort of things. We weren't really. It was a mixture. It was born out of the fact that when Scott went to Thailand, we were winding him up about getting pedicures and calling him soft. And the final.
You had a pedicure before in Thailand.
No, you know what? No, sorry, it wasn't a. I haven't actually. I should, but
good, man. Your nails feel so soft. I've never felt nothing like it.
I know this is what he says. But, no, it wasn't a pedicure. It was it was a manicure.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't touch my hand.
No, he had it. He had it with all. No, sorry, a manicure, facial. I keep getting it.
All right.
It was
with a lady boy.
So he put this thing up where it was like all white. And he looked like is it a geisha or geisha?
Yeah. I know what you mean though. Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just scary. And we would go, what is up with it? And we were all giving it to him in a WhatsApp anyway. And then it just started a thing where we were like, you know what though, let's just for banter get people to just admit things they do, which you wouldn't usually call yourself you wouldn't associate with being a geezer, your manly stereotypes or whatever. And it just did off a thing. It was quite funny, people admitting to all these little things they do. And then we thought, you know what, let's make a podcast about sort of just owning up to things you don't usually associate with being a geezer or whatever. Yeah. And you just see that, I mean, the old geezer things, it's a load of bollocks anyway. Like, it's everyone when they're with their missus or whatever is a completely different bloke. There's no real geezers out there. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so the podcast is a bit like that. This new season, we've tried to make a little bit more light-hearted, and just because at the time we don't really need more somber stuff. Do you know what I mean? We want it to be a bit of a pick-me-up. So it's just talking about all sorts of stuff. But yeah, new season is we just filmed the first episode, and that'll be out tomorrow.
What is that like on your own YouTube channel or on a different?
Yeah, that'll be on our channel. Yeah, on the Manor Official.
Cool, that's good then. So going back to MMA, so you mentioned your that's why we have this channel. So you mentioned your cousin kind of got you into it. How old is your cousin now? You said he was 14 when he first started, right?
Yeah, he's 14. He's 19 now. He bless him. He turned 18 a month before lockdown, so he's still not been a pub.
He's never been to the pub.
He ain't been to the pub. He weren't really like a drink. He weren't a pub man. In general anyway, but he said when he was like, when I'm 18, I want to go spoons with you, man. I just want to get a couple of beers and go spoons. So I was like, why the fuck do you want to go with a spoon? Like, I don't know what the thing is with spoons. I know, it's mad. I was saying, I'll take you Beckenham, mate. Like, it's nice. But he's like, no, I want to go spoons. But bless him, he's still waiting because of lockdown. But it's better anyway. I try and discourage him from the boozing and that. He has a drink when he sees us, but he's an athlete, man. So the less time.
So is he just having amateur fights at the moment? Has he had a fight yet, or?
Yeah, he's had 2 amateur fights. I missed the first one because we were filming a video at the time, and he won. He bashed the geezer up. He was class. And then the second one, which I did go to, again decision. He lost, but I don't think he lost. Put it that way. And that's without bias. Like he basically lost on clinch it. It was a Muay Thai fight, and he's training to do MMA. He's not training in particular. He's fighting a geezer, to be fair, who's 30. And the geezer just clinched him up. But he was like technically so much better than this geezer, kicking, punching, everything. But he was just doing him a bit in a clinch. And
so that That was a Muay Thai fight, what, with the shin guards and all of that on, or whether was it like an actual?
I don't think he had. I don't think he had guards. No, did he have
Mm.
guards? I don't think he did. I don't think he did. But yeah, it was Muay Thai judging basically at the O2. But in my eyes, he's 2-0 because he kicked the geezer all around the shop, and he was 12 years older than him.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so what was the first fight apart from your cousins? Obviously, what was the first MMA, UFC, Bellator, or like Bellator? Like, what was the fight you remember watching and thinking, "Fucking hell, this is good"?
First fight I watched, probably as bait as it is, probably. No, let me think. Saying that, first fight I would have seen would have been, I think, a John Jones fight. I think it probably would have been Jones Cormier.
The second one or the first one?
I can't remember. I'm not gonna lie to you.
The second one he kicked him in the head and knocked him out. The first one was on points. It was
no, I do remember. Yeah, no, it was when DC was crying, so it would have been the second one. Yeah, it was the second one.
Well, I think he cried on the first one. I think the second one.
He cried on the first one as well.
I can't remember now. I can't remember. But he cried.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah, I get that kind of that time period. So, who's your favorite fighter? Who do you like the most?
Who's my favorite?
Yeah.
You know what? Because I'll probably say Adesanya, because I've seen every fight he's had.
Oh, you've seen his journey, innit?
Yeah. This is it. And it's like once you just get on that journey, you're with him.
Yeah.
And, but I liked the match. I liked Costa as well. I was a big fan of Costa, and it was, again, a lot of these times you end up, same with Poirier and McGregor on the weekend. Like, there's a lot of times where you sit and thinking, I don't want either of these guys to lose.
Yeah.
Particularly this, it was a bit more tricky because, again, if it was just judged on geezers, I think, or the man or the fighter, I think I'd want Poirier to win. But it was more with McGregor, it was more the part of you still wants him to have another fight with Khabib, even though it's going to go the exact same way, but he still gasses you. This is the thing with Conor. He still tricks you.
It's a legend of McGregor. Yeah. I know.
Well, what's done my nut more than anything is the fact that I always back the underdog. I always bet on underdogs, and I lose a lot of money doing it because they're usually an underdog for a reason. But this time I've gone with Poirier. I'm like, I just bought the McGregor hype, and I didn't think, like, Poirier shouldn't have been the underdog. No way in hell should he have been the underdog for this fight. I remember sitting there after the Hooker fight thinking, this geezer is different class. And yeah, I was sold a dream again. I started thinking to myself, well, look at how I started thinking about the Khabib fight and thinking, could he do it if he got another shot at Khabib now? He's motivated McGregor, he's focused McGregor, like, it's all this bollocks. Like, you buy the bollocks every time.
Yeah, I always get done like hook, line, and sinker. A lot of the time, you hear a fighter talk, and I don't know whether I'm just gullible or stupid, but I'm like, oh fucking yeah, obviously he's motivated now. He weren't motivated the first, like, do you know what I mean? Like, and then afterwards they would lose and be like, oh, I was injured, my shoulder was hurt or something, and you're like, fucking hell, do you know what I mean?
Well, this is the thing. I was laughing with my cousins. I rang him straight after, and McGregor's his hero, man. He was devastated. He couldn't believe it. But but we were like, yeah. So look, the worst thing about it was motivated McGregor. It was focused McGregor. We were like, well, you know what it is now. You need angry McGregor. Like, angry McGregor's the new one.
He was too nice. He was too nice before this fight. Yeah, you need the copy McGregor. That.
This is what I'm saying. But yeah, he sold the dream. But again, it's like it's so easy to go overboard because he could have sparked him in the first round. He could have pushed it a little bit further. It went the other way. I do think with McGregor, he does need to come out and do a couple of rounds. I think or do someone in a couple of rounds, because I feel like after he tires a little bit, he starts to fight a little bit more predictable. He looks a bit more predictable, and he's a bit conscious of his energy and conserving it. That he just doesn't have that same unpredictability about him.
So I was actually talking to someone about this on I did a podcast with a guy called James earlier this week. And we were talking on Instagram, and one of the things that what I said to him is it feels like McGregor's a bit like a Ferrari where like everything needs to be fine-tuned perfectly for him to perform at his optimum. But then if there's one little thing that goes off, it feels like he crumbles a little bit. Do you know what I mean? He's not like a sturdy, I don't know, a Range Rover or whatever that can get through. Like, I don't know if that's true or not. That's just the impression that I get. Like,
do you not think the same? Like, you've seen it in the losses, in it, in the first Diaz fight, in the Khabib fight, and the Poirier fight, is that when it didn't look like it was going his way, it just looked like he was looking for that big left hand. That was it. It was just a big overhand leg. Yeah, and he weren't setting it up with a jab. He weren't really throwing kicks. In none of these fights, it was just, I'm just trying to throw a big left hand. I'm hoping. And even when it was connecting, it weren't doing that sort of damage. He didn't have that power after the initial fucking exchanges.
That's because he had his leg kicked out from under him, innit? You don't have the
this time around, he was fucked the legs. And
but
I mean, a lot of people,
going back to the Nate Diaz fight, the first one, when he tapped, when he got, submitted, he was in a position where he was so tired and he was kind of suffocating in his own fatigue that he went to try and take Nate Diaz down. And
well, I think he didn't want to get knocked out, because you've seen it this time. Is that the mistake goes with a knockout? As bad as it is to tap, he still seemed like, you can't fight me on the feet. If you take away your fucking wrestling bollocks and all that stuff, you can't fight. But to see him get sparked was just, we all know he's just a normal bloke, and he's fucking been tearing the arse out of the booze and everything else. So you should expect him to be a bit weak. You should expect that, but he still had that aura in our heads, and he was still that hero from 2015 and 2016 or whatever that could do anything and couldn't get sparked. So it was just, the mystique went, man. It was weird. It was weird to watch.
I know. What, did you watch the Michael Chandler fight before then? Before that
I mean,
what do you make of Michael Chandler as a I wouldn't say as a person, but his persona, his character, sort of thing?
I can't really. You know what? I ain't made my mind up yet. I don't know if I like. I do think I like him. To be fair, I do think he seems. I don't know. He's a funny one. He is a funny one. I do think he seems like a nice guy. I've never really, again, I've not watched too much Bellator. I hadn't seen him in Bellator. I knew his record. I knew he'd done Bet Sensen. I knew thing. But yeah, I was surprised, man. Hooker looked really shook. I didn't think he was going to look shook like that.
I thought he'd be a bit more active, innit? Like, I thought, I understood what he was doing, trying to stay away from the wrestler, trying to stay away from the big shot.
Yeah.
You need to throw something yourself to keep him active.
Otherwise, you're inviting him onto you. It was a strange one. I don't know if it was from the Poirier fight. I took it out of him a bit. I don't know, but it was sad to watch, man. It was a bit.
I don't know, man. But I'm quite interested to see what happens with Michael Chandler now as well, though. Like, just because one of, like, I don't know if you saw the video that I made, like the preview for the fight, like last week. I basically said, like, I just don't know how good he is because he's been fighting in Bellator, and I don't know how, like, the people that he fights aren't as good as the guys in the UFC. So it's hard to say. But now, seeing what he done to Dan Hooker, like seeing him against someone like Justin Gaethje or something like that, just like two
that's a mad
going at it with each other.
Yeah, that's a mad fight now. No, it's crazy though, isn't it? Because every night with like a UFC thing, it goes from one geezer you're not sure about or you think sick, and then they just go in completely different directions. And you think, like, a year ago, you're thinking Ferguson, McGregor, fucking even Hooker. These are your fucking dangerous guys, and you're not. And then fucking one fight later, these guys are bums now, and fucking like Ferguson stock's just got, again. He's had two bad losses, really. So it is sort of thing, but. It's sad. I always feel bad for the UFC fighters because they don't really get paid enough. They definitely don't get paid enough, just percentage wise compared to every other sport. Like, and it can just and you watch something and you think, fucking hell, is this going to be lasting damage for him fucking going forward in the thing? Especially like Hooker, that he can't go and see his family now for fucking
until end of February or something.
Oh, mate, like you just feel for the geese, and it's like. I do feel for him because in an instant, the MMA fans, just like boxing, they're the world's fucking harshest, worst.
That's what I don't. You see, this is what I don't understand, right? Is one thing that MMA fans are kind of proud about is that in boxing, a loss means too much. Like, fighters do everything to protect the undefeated record, right? But in MMA, you can lose, like Poirier is a prime example, and come back and have a big fight, right?
Yeah.
But when someone does lose, it's the be all and end all. Do you know what I mean? Like, so on one hand, you can't say losses don't matter. And then on the other hand, if someone loses, he's the shittest fighter that ever existed. Like, does that make sense?
And yeah, no, until they have that, you can have the big comeback. But it's like, to be fair, it's the same as boxing, because if you go and have a big win, you're back. But yeah, when you're in that gap between a big loss and another fight, you're dog shit, ain't you? It's like
it's hard though, isn't it? Because all you've got is that one night, like Eminem. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all you've got. And then
mate,
you can't fight for another 4 or 5 months or whatever.
Mate, you got to just take your out of turn, because it's like just a mental thing. It's mental enough just going and fighting full stop, but when you've got all of that added thing, and I heard an interview with McGregor's coach Kavanagh, and he said the biggest thing that and this was after loss, he said the biggest thing that fighters have is that fear of looking bad to like their family and their friends and people. And I think that would be the big fear. Like the same like when you're at school and you're scrapping someone and people are watching, like you're not worried about getting hurt. Unless the geezer's a monster. That's what embarrassment, and just to like, I mean, even McGregor, you thought was like virtually untouchable, and then he goes online and sees fucking Jake Paul cunting him off. Like, how did it's just it's mad, man.
What do you make of all this? You know, Jake, is it one of them? Jake Paul, I think it is. He's fighting Ben Askren in a boxing match.
Jake, mate, don't see. Askren, he's another, right? He's calls me absolute dramas. Like when he come over, like I didn't know his background. If I knew he had the little beef with Dana White, and then he was giving it all the talk. I started following him on Twitter, and I thought he's funny, man. And then I was gassed that he got anything. I like the fact he had that whole like Vince McMahon, Steve Austin beef with Dana, and I just liked it. And then he had and I was cheering him up to everyone. And I watched his Rogan. And he was talking about
that was quite entertaining as well. Like
it was good, but he was talking about wrestlers' mindsets and why they're thinking. I'm thinking, this geezer's the truth. Like I know he couldn't strike or anything, but he's like so good at his wrestling. I'm thinking he's gonna do some damage in it. He's gonna do like what Khabib's doing.
To interrupt you, there was a point in his career when he was basically saying, I'll only sign with a UFC if I fight GSP my first fight, because I'm the best welterweight on this planet. And this is when GSP was at his height, right?
Yeah.
It was at a period where I think either he was at ONE FC or he was... So ONE FC is that organization in kind of, I don't know which country. It's in
Japan?
Like Singapore, Malaysia, one of them.
Oh, Singapore, yeah.
It's not Japan itself. But yeah, so that was the kind of... That was his whole thing. I'm not going to sign for the UFC unless I fight GSP, because I'm already better than everyone. And then he came in and fought Lawler. But carry on with what you were saying.
Yeah, no, we'll just sit. So I've been gassing him up, and I got my pal on him who I watch it with all the time. And I was like, no. So we've become Askren fans, me, my pal, my brother. And then there was the Lawler fight, and we're thinking, well, mate, after like 10 seconds, Lawler's dropped him on his head. He's getting bashed up. We're going, no, what's happening? Like, he's got him going, get up. Rapping him, bro. And I'm going, come on, Ben. Like, what are you doing? And then he's done it. And then we were like, fucking hell. Like, this geezer just put it through the mill here. Like, and then he's giving it to Dana again. He's gone, Dana, that all you got? And I'm thinking, you silly cunt, like, you nearly done there. But he was like, when he, from what I remember, I haven't seen it back in years, but when he got off the floor he was like doing almost like a choke. He had his back, didn't he? He had his back. But when he got up, he was kind of like disorientated. Still gone, because he took bangs. He took so many bangs. And we were, so even then I was like, all right, cool. He got through it. He had a little bit of a wobble, whatever. But we were like, look, he's still the truth. And then I'm telling John in the band, I'm like, no, he's the guy. Don't wait, he's the guy. He got through Robbie Lawler, fucking ruthless Robbie Lawler. We've seen since that Robbie Lawler's done. Like, he's, so yeah, and then you got the Masvidal fight, and so most of these MMA nights, right? This was back pre-COVID and everything. I'd have the night out, and then everyone, my house is the party house. So everyone comes back to mine, and then we watch the UFC here. And this one night, I've got all these birds back here, and we're trying to get there every week. We're trying to get the girls into the UFC and whatever. And I'm telling everyone, but it was the same. What was the fight? So the Askren Masvidal was the same night as. That was a
John Jones. I think that might have been John Jones.
Was it not the Call Me?
You know what? Wait there. I'll check, because it's going to piss me off otherwise. Because I remember.
Yeah, I think this was a sick.
Because this
I'm
was
pretty sure it's a big card. This was a big card.
It was the first time they went on pay-per-view in the UK, I think. And I remember being pissed off about that. But yeah, carry on.
So I'm gassing it up and going to all the girls. This is my guy, and like I'm half Jewish, and I'm sure Askren's Jewish. If he ain't, he looks it.
Yeah.
So I'm going, this is my Jewish guy, bruv. Jews, we ain't got no fighters. Fucking useless. Can't fight to save our lives. This is our Jewish hero right here. Anyway, bro, and I'm going, he's the guy. And these times as well, I've just started growing my hair. My hair's all curly. I'm growing my hair like Askren. This is my guy. Bro, and then Masvidal, I've got, just wait. And then he's come flying across the thing. And I've just looked like, and I ain't said a fucking word, mate. But like, and everyone looked around at me like, what the fuck has happened to your boy? And I'm just there like, no, bro.
It weren't just a flying knee. It was what Masvidal did afterwards when he started.
Oh, mate, yes.
And like he done fell asleep on the cage and that.
Oh my God, mate. I was just sitting like, what the fuck, man? I was fuming. Yeah, absolutely livid. So yeah, sorry for a long tangent now. I'm now, after all this, then I have to watch him with a Damian Maia fight as well, just completely embarrassing.
That was actually fun though. That was actually a fun fight.
It was a good fight, but again, his fucking punches. Like, why has he never sparred? Like, I thought I was the worst boxer around, but he is fucking terrible.
Watching them two on the feet was like watching. I don't want to disrespect them too much, but it was like watching two amateurs going at it. But you know how lethal they are on the ground, but they just were trying, but they couldn't get each other to the ground.
Hey, it's like watching me and one of my pals at an after party. It's like, it was embarrassing. But now this is what I'm worried about, is that Jake Paul might spark him. I mean, you'd like to think, look, like he said it in his interview, he was like, look, I fought geezers with 4-ounce gloves. I fucking only ever been sparked once. But he just had an hip replacement. Like, he's lost his last 2 fights. Jake Paul's young. He's young. He ain't, as much as I don't like him, he don't, for a fucking amateur, he's a good amateur. Not a good amateur, as in
a level of skills there. Like,
not a good amateur, like as in an amateur to become a pro, but as in a good YouTuber.
Yeah, like a white collar boxer. Like, you could do a white collar boxer match, like, you know, these corporate happen and whatnot.
Exactly. And I think, like, I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's picked Askren. Askren's got a profile. He's loud. But if he beats Askren, he can then say, I've beaten a fucking
ex-world champion.
MMA. Yeah. Ex-world MMA champion, a pro wrestler, fucking. He's not. One thing you cannot say about Jake, but he's not stupid, mate. He's not stupid. And to be honest, though, Askren, you can't blame him. It's a fucking. He don't care. He really don't care. If he gets sparked, whatever, he's made, like you said, he's made more money than he's ever made in an MMA fight. So
that's the point I was going to make, because the way he took the Jorge Masvidal loss, because he became the meme he became the king of memes basically after that.
Yeah. Like, he took it so well, man.
Yeah. He laughed along with it, and his attitude was, this is what I sign up for, innit? Like, it can happen, and it happened, and it happened to me, sort of thing. But I reckon
that made me like him more as well. The response, Sorry,
because before then I liked him, but he had that little like and I don't want to piss any of my American, like, because most of the people that watch my videos are Americans, right? And they're all nice people, but you get them like annoying Americans that are like, just like, there's something American about them that's annoying. Like, I can't put my finger on it.
I know what you mean.
And he had a bit of that to him, like a bit of cockiness or something. Like he's like, oh, I'm a high school athlete. You know, these kind of guys.
He seems like he would have been like that jock sort of.
Yeah. And you'd be like, I wouldn't like to go to school with this guy. He seems like a prick. Do you know what I mean?
No, he would have been a cunt at school, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. And then that's what it is. But then when I saw his reaction to that loss, I thought, fuck it, he's a decent guy, to be fair. I quite like him. And I like the beef, like you say, with Dana White and how he spoke to and about that. Like, do you ever see his like interviews with Ariel Helwani saying Dana doesn't respond to my texts, and you know, shit?
Yeah. No, it was good, man. It was good. He was the bollock. He had him on every week, didn't he, Helwani? Because he was smashing it. He was good. Yeah, he's good value, man. I just, like I say, I pray. I couldn't see him knocking anyone out with his hands. I couldn't. So I'm just hoping he doesn't get knocked out.
But here's the thing though, right? So he says, I've only been knocked out once, but that's because the opponents he was fighting against were scared to be taken down, right? Do you know what I mean? Like he had a threat himself. But in a boxing match, he hasn't got the I'd love it if he goes in and just starts taking him down.
Oh, mate, that's yeah. This is it, man. I always said this with the McGregor Mayweather fight. I was like, he should just go in there and fucking karate kick him in the head. Karate. I think Mayweather had some sort of insurance against that, and he wouldn't get paid because I think
but that was a lot. That was like 70 million or whatever you got paid. But I don't know. Askren probably isn't getting more than $1 million, and I don't know what his financial state is. But he seems like the guy that's tapped enough to think, well, I don't really care about that money. I'm going to go in there and just keep taking it down. Do you know what I mean? Well, I don't mind not being paid.
I'd love to see that. I mean, I hope he goes and gets a good. Again, I don't know. He ain't even got that long to train, has he? He's not got.
I don't even know when the fight is, man. I know they announced it.
I think it's a couple, maybe April. Might be April. He's got a couple of months.
Well, you got Logan Paul meant to be fighting Mayweather in 3 weeks, but
is that still happening?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Because I was watching. Do you ever watch Morning Combat with Brian Campbell?
He's good. That Luke Thomas is good, man.
Yeah. So I like the way him and Brian Campbell are together as well. Like they got decent banter, but
they got a good little thing,
Yeah, but they was talking about it yesterday, and they was like, well, the fight's 3 weeks away. We still don't know what channel it's on. We don't know how to order it. Like, there's no information out and whatnot. So it's a little bit.
It don't sound like it's happening.
Yeah. There's something not quite right.
Again, it's like it's a bad president, isn't it? To be if this is the way it's going. I was saying to your brother earlier, we just see. I didn't know, but KSI has got a tune with Marin. I was like, YouTubers are literally doing everything, like at the top of the boxing world, the music world, like they're greedy cunts.
I don't like. I mean, I don't know if you know him or whatever, but fuck me, like KSI, like he seems like a nice enough guy, but he can't rap, man. His music's fucking shit.
Well, you know what? It was this latest tune because we were both cunting it, and then we played it, and then my brother went, "Who's that?" And I went, "That's him," and he went, "You know, it actually ain't even that bad." It's the best thing I've heard from him. Put it that way. It weren't a bad verse. He
hasn't set very high standards for himself. Do you know what I mean?
I reckon someone's probably writing it for him.
Yeah.
At this point, like Keiko, but yeah, it is a shame when just YouTube is just taking over the fucking.
But this
world,
is fucked though, isn't it? Because usually it's like your talent is what gets you the fame, right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're talented you're a musician. You're a talented musician. It will get you the notoriety or whatever the right word for it is. But now it's like people that are just famous for the sake of being famous are transferring their personality into actual things, into actual arts where you need talent, and they don't have.
It's just, it's just I mean, everyone's just on. It's the fame train, isn't it? Everyone's been it's got worse and worse in it for this our generation. I think we were the first ones growing up watching MTVs and things like that, and now everyone grew up wanting to be famous, and you've just got that culture now of everyone. That I don't know why we all buy into it, but we do. We just buy into like this populist thing. It's why you can have a Donald Trump in fucking president, and a YouTuber in a boxing match. It's like
it's all fucking gone topsy turvy. And speaking of
Donald Trump, got a bit mad.
Do you follow Masvidal?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Did you see what he was like? Look, I don't. Look, let me just say this, right? I don't really care what your politics are in terms of whether you're a Trump supporter or whether you're whatever Biden or whatever. Like in America, right? I don't really know enough about it. But I just felt like Jorge Masvidal had all of this momentum, all of this hype around his name, and what a way to fuck it all up.
Like it's a shame. It's mad. But you know what? I rate Masvidal for that because I think. Most people, you get most people on the internet nowadays who are just you either get the people who toe the line, or people who say what they think, or a lot of people are just out there doing it so that they can get retweets and likes and going with the populist opinion. And look, in my eyes, Trump is. I hated Trump long before he even got into politics because I see a documentary about his golf courses he was building, and he did it in Scotland where he was like, he just kicked a load of. I'm half Scottish, and he kicked a load of jocks off their land to build this golf course that he then left abandoned, and you could just see it was a nasty piece of work from this thing. But in terms of just the way it went with politics, like there has been things. Tell a lie. I'm not going to go down on the defense of him, but again, it's just I can't hate someone for being honest about their opinion. And Masvidal's got his reasons. Masvidal comes from a country, or his parents come from a country that was. See terrible effects of when socialism or communism goes wrong. So he's got reasons why he hates the left. And, he's probably, I think he probably went the wrong way going too much on Trump, but he thought this is the lesser of two evils in his eyes because he's seen it go the other way. And I mean, for me, I think, you know, politics more often than not, politicians are much of the much, and they're just there's no good or evil. The minute people see it like the left is good and the right is bad, that's the way sort of Twitter sees it. But you can be left and you can be a cunt, you can be right and you can be a cunt. You got your Stalins, for every Stalin, you got your Hitlers, like And I like I say, I can't. I half respect, although I don't agree with it. I respect the fact that Masvidal's gone, you know what, bollocks to Twitter. I don't care if this is going to lose me fans or not. This is what I believe in, and I'm going to back it. Where there's so many people out there who probably, you know, think a certain thing and say another thing online because that's going to keep them.
They don't want to lose
with the crowd.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. I think my view on Masvidal specifically is more around just, all right, policy is one thing in terms of what your political beliefs are, what your political values are, whatever. But in terms of just the, like, he's a ethnic minority in that country, right?
Yeah.
And the guy that he's backing isn't really backing, like myself, I'm an ethnic minority as well. Like, I wouldn't, like, I can't correlate the two. Do you know what I mean? That's the first thing. And the second thing is, like, I reckon, and I say this in a lot of videos, like, I don't know whether he actually runs his own Twitter account or how much he knows about what is being tweeted on his behalf and whatnot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I mean, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. Again, how as a minority you could support, how as any white person you could support someone who's said and done the things he's done.
Yeah.
Is mad, but then no, it don't make sense to me. And you know, for me, it's like, my personal opinion is that and this is why we try and do it with our music, right? I always say to the boys, like, there's been times we thought, oh, should we be a bit more thing? I'm like, no, because I don't feel like you should get involved or unless things are really necessary and you're in a place where you need a revolution. And I don't feel like musicians or anyone else, especially when you're not educated on politics that well, you shouldn't be out there trying to influence people and their decisions. And people don't come to an MMA fighter to hear about your politics. Like, I mean, like, you talk about, like, our parents' generation, when people used to you didn't know what people voted. Do you remember that whole thing of, like, you don't ask someone who you vote for?
Yeah.
And, like, I'm sort of that school of thought of just keep your politics out of it. It's not like, and Twitter has become, it's just so politics obsessed now. It's crazy, man. It's like,
it's annoying though. Like, it's just, I like, it's not even about it's not even about trying to find out find a common ground or trying to find actually what is the best thing for society. It's just about trying to get one over each other. Like, do you know what I mean?
I've seen it over here, I think, and it's happened in America with, like, the Trump stuff, but it started over here with Brexit. Didn't become, I mean, I did economics, so I've always looked at Brexit from a different point of view of there's economic benefits and there's economic negatives of joining or leaving. There's two sides to it. We studied it. It was one of the units I did on my course.
Oh, but for Brexit?
Of being part of the EU and being more integrated or less integrated. But it become a race issue for starters. It become an immigration issue. It become all these different things when, I mean, I find it fun anyway, because I think the EU is it's got an inherently racist immigration policy, because you can only come and join these countries if you're part of the EU, and it excludes other countries. But again, I just think it should never have been about that, but it become a football match, essentially, of we need to be right. We need to be right. And it's now even at the point now of people wanting it to be wrong because they didn't believe in it before. And it's just the whole way, it's been a football match, and we're two teams. We'll leave, we'll remain, like,
mate. Well, the best example of it is Arsenal, our own fan base. Like, there was a point where actual fans wanted us to lose to prove the point that Wenger shouldn't be in that job anymore. And you're thinking, how the fuck are you a fan then? Do you know what I mean?
Everyone's like it now in, like, every issue. It's just become of us v them. And it's just, for me, I find it, if you're that deeply, I don't think a lot of these people who claim they care so much about leaving a thing, I feel like it's born out of an unhappiness within themselves.
Yeah,
to have to care that much that they need to win at this. I need to win at Brexit. I need to win at Arsenal supporting. I need to win at fucking racism or Trump or whatever. This is not things you need to win at.
Yeah.
Fuck, be a nice person. Call out bad things when they happen. Not so much, not online. Call them out when you see them in real fucking life. If you see someone being racist in real life, if you see someone hurting someone in real life, go and fucking get involved then. Don't try and win fucking imaginary fights online. Like,
yeah, in written word. And also, like, another thing that really gets on my tits is when like someone tweets something 6 years ago, and sometimes it gets taken out of context, or it might have just been in that same context, but it's like that person isn't allowed to change from his or her views from 6 years ago to now. Like, and you're thinking to yourself, fuck you now. Like, have you never said anything or done anything that you think, hold on, I shouldn't have said that? Do you know what I mean?
And this is the thing, you got to think about every generation, what you should say and what is deemed accountable to say. Like, we grew up saying everything was gay, everything, and just didn't think nothing of it. That was the thing. And then you realize and I grew up, I was always, because we were sort of the crossover point of it. And I was always like, I would say everything was gay. I called everyone gay, but I was very anti homophobia. I ended up I have a lot of gay friends at uni. And I was like, and that became a thing. And now you're seeing the same thing nowadays with the trans issue. And whether you want to get into the depth, I don't want to get into the depths, and it's a very complex thing, but just generally speaking, these things just changed. And 20 years ago, it was racism. And the goalposts are constantly fucking changing. And like you say, that should be the aim of life, is that someone should be a better person now than they were 6 years ago.
Exactly.
So pulling someone up on it is like, well, do you see what they're saying now? And if they've got better, pat them on the back, because they've actually grown and become a better person.
Yeah, but and it's all this like fucking cancel cult, like, oh, you're cancelled now. Like, what? Do I not exist anymore? Like, am I not alive? Because I tweeted something a few years ago.
Mate,
has anything like that happened to you? Has anyone tried to like?
Well, no, we were actually quite smart when we joined the label. I think we deleted everything that could be potentially, because Twitter was a different place. I mean, I've never tweeted things too much, but I said things that were a bit, I don't know, probably misogynistic. I did more muggy tweets that I just thought, you sound like a twat. So I went through my Twitter when we first got signed. I was like, get rid of all of that. Could come back to haunt you if you ever go mainstream. But because we've sort of, our brand is what it is, you can't really there's nothing we've said that would get us called out. Like, it's never been, and to be honest with you, I said this to boys, I said, if we did get cancelled, do us a fucking favour. Just bring us to light of more people, and then people who do go and look at it will see that we ain't cunts. Do you know what I mean? And then,
but that's the thing, though.
We'll end up with more fans.
In theory, you're right, but how many people actually go and look at it? How many people actually go and do the actual required research to have an informed opinion?
Yeah,
because they don't. They'll look at them 2 sentences on a tweet, and that's it. They form their opinion.
We won't even read an article nowadays. It'll just be a headline. We do it in the WhatsApp groups. We'll post something and go, fucking hell. And the person who's posting it in the WhatsApp group ain't even read the article themselves. And we're like, brother, you don't even know what you're talking about here. Like, it's true, man. You probably won't. And I think, you don't, a lot of people don't. But if we did, you'd probably nick a couple of fans. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? But let's just quickly talk about Arsenal, because I had I don't know if you know, I don't know how old you are, to be honest, but I interviewed a guy called Ian Selly who played for Arsenal back in.
I remember him. I'm old enough to remember him. Yeah. So I had him in my sticker book.
Yeah. I told my mate who supports Arsenal about this on WhatsApp. I haven't spoken to him in ages, but I sent him the link. He's like, "Oh shit, I used to get so many of him in the Premier League book," and I used to get so many of him as well.
Ian Selly, Eddie McGoldrick.
Eddie McGoldrick. Yeah. So that was that era. Yeah. So I interviewed him for the channel, because he was in. Actually, I showed him this.
Oh, you had him on the channel?
Yeah. So I've got this.
I'm going to go and watch this after.
Back in the day, right? So do you remember when we won the Winners' Cup in 1994?
Yes, yeah.
I've got this newspaper. This is the only thing that I kept as a child. Like, this newspaper.
Oh, nice.
The day after. But so I interviewed him. So I'll send you the link on Instagram. But
I've still got like one of them. I don't know what you call them, but they're like, you can hang it. It's hard to explain. It's like a little, almost looks like a little curtain-y thing. Like,
when you put cards in there. Do you put?
No. It's from the. I don't even know how to explain it to you. It's a bit like. I think I used to have it in the room, but I got one from the Arsenal Torino game. I think that was the same cup run.
That was the same one.
Yeah. Because my old man went out. It's like just basically a bit of match day memorabilia. But my old man went all the games. So I just remember him coming back after the trips. He had all the videos. So Yeah, no, I remember them years, man.
Yeah,
I'm old enough. I'm old enough.
Yeah. So what do you make of? Because look, recently we've been all right, man. 5 wins, 1 draw. Can't complain in the Premier League anyway. Still only 8.
Mate,
A lot of points
yeah,
behind them, but
it's, mate, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I went Arteta out. I did
you?
already after. You know what? It just, mate, it was a combination of things. It was like, I thought, because I was fully backing him. Like at the start, I just liked the way he carried himself. I think we all did. He just seemed, he got that presidential thing about him. He just carried himself properly.
I like the way he communicated. I like the way, like, just how stern but reasonable. He was reasonable, but also authoritative. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and he was clear, and like, I mean, it ain't Emery's fault. He's just not the best. Apparently, he was like it in Spain as well. He's not the clearest talker. He's a bit jumbled about. I'm the same. I go on tangents all over the shop. Be the worst manager. But but Arteta was the opposite. So we were like, fuck yeah, I like this man. He sounds like he knows what he wants. And I hadn't seen anything in last season that made me think, right, we're there. Yeah, I still wasn't really sure which direction he was going with things. But look, we won the cup. It looked like he knew how to grind out results. And he was making good substitutions last year as well that were changing things, I think.
And also another thing last year was because it was like, they had started having drinks breaks. It seemed like he was being quite influential during those drinks breaks as well. Do you know what I mean? It was like he's having an impact. Yeah.
And shouting, we were thinking, fuck, when crowds come back, he's going to be a bit fucked because he's literally directing every fucking move. But
saying, come this,
But then that's the mad thing, because when we went on the losing run, we're going, all the things that you thought was good about him, you switch in your head and you're like, oh, he's directing everyone too much. He needs to stop shouting at them. Like, they don't know what to do without him in their ears. He's confusing them. And you're like, fucking all the things we thought. And when he was keeping it solid, like, the thing is, he sorted out the defence, which was something Wenger hadn't done since fucking the 04 season.
Yeah.
We hadn't had a good fucking defence. We had a little brief period with Mertesacker and Koscielny. But other than that, we hadn't
themselves fit for together long enough. That was
This is it. But even through the losses, we weren't conceding many goals. We still, I think, got even maybe the second best defence in the league at the minute.
We're third best, I think, at the moment.
Third best at the minute. So, but yeah, it was just worrying. It was like, just keep playing Willian. Lacazette looked terrible. I mean, it's the worst. It was worse. I think it was worse than Emery. That little run where we kept losing, probably.
Mate, it was fucking. You know what it was? Yeah, it was like fucking. He gave us a little bit of hope with the cup. And it seemed like, all right, there's a philosophy here that they're playing to a game plan that the managers implemented. And then it felt like we went 3 at the back and then we went 4 at the back. And then as soon as that happened, it just felt like all the creativity got sucked out of the team.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was hurtful, man. Honestly, I was like, fucking, it stressed me out. Like, it pissed me off.
Mate, properly. Because the worst thing was, it happened right. We beat Man United at Old Trafford for the first time in how long? So you can imagine, you're probably the same with your United friends. We are giving it large to every United fan I know, send them voice notes. Like, I got a pal, we would just, every time Man United lose or Arsenal lose, we just send each other this just snide grin. It's just a selfie. It's just... and they get snider and snider, the worse things get on. And these times, like, after this United game, like, I'm just sending voice notes. My voice notes are just, they're so snide, so unbelievably snide.
They was doing kind of shit at that time as well, wasn't it?
They were like 14th, and you got Troops and DT all large in it, making up dances and shit to fucking get United. And then after that, they've just won every game, and we've lost every fucking game. And then it's like, it got to the point where it was so bad. This is how you know it's bad. The game before the Chelsea game, literally, my guy who we're going back and forth with these snide things, he's not even sent me one. He's not even sent me a message after we lose. He's gone.
You know
he
what?
Was like,
oh, sorry.
He felt bad. He literally went, mate, I'm starting to feel a bit bad. Like, and then he would cheer when we won. It might have been in a cup or something. He was like, go on, mate. You lot are all right. You ain't getting relegated. I'm thinking, bruv, this is just embarrassing. Now.
That takes a piss. When your friends start pretending to be concerned for you, like or like take pity on your team, that's when you know you've hit rock bottom.
Bro, it weren't even fun for him bantering me. You could see like I was taking like usually I take a little while to respond to it when we lose, but I was taking like a day or something. He was like, "Are you all right, mate?" Like, was that you genuinely concerned? And I was like, I left the group as well. we got this Gunners WhatsApp group with all these Arsenal fans, and I had to leave because we're the worst. I mean, all Arsenal fans are like it. We gas ourselves up when we win, and then it is suicide watch when we're doing bad. And I had to leave. I left quite early doors in the losing streak because I just sensed it weren't going to get good for a while. So I was like, I've got to get out of here for my mental health. I've got to escape it. Like
fucking the turnaround that came out of nowhere, innit? Like usually it's like, oh, you win one, you lose one. It's like a slow build.
Yeah.
I just don't know what was going wrong. I don't understand what the fuck was going wrong for them to be able to just turn it around the way they have. Like, does that make sense? Like,
no, I mean, it seems as simple as fucking a number 10.
Bro, yeah, but I mean, don't get me wrong. He's been good. He's played better than he should at his age. Like, he's been a massive plus for us. But at the same time, but you know what? There was 2 games in there when Pepe got himself sent off against Leeds, when Xhaka got sent off against whatever it was.
Everything was everything that could go wrong. Own goal, Aubameyang own goal. Like, mate, it was
that was embarrassing
everything.
as well because he couldn't score at the other end, and he fucking goes.
Oh, mate, yeah. We looked visibly scared, and it was like. But I do think there was something quite wrong with the system because we had, again, without trying to make out like I'm a pundit here, but we had no one. One thing me and my brother kept going was no one is doing any 1-2s. Like I said, it's a very simple thing in football. If you pass and then you move, you fucking give them something to think about. And that was one thing Smith Rowe came in immediately. Saka does it all the time as well. He passes and he turns and then immediately defensive thinking. But we had so many of them sideways. You had Xhaka and fucking El Neni or Sabas passing it side to side slowly.
Taking 2 or 3 touches, waiting, like, and the opposition.
Oh, mate.
Shape. Yeah, that's exactly.
The one where Xhaka, Gabriel's running up the pitch and Xhaka runs towards his own goal and takes the ball off him and passes it back to Leno. And I was just like, bro, what is that?
Yeah.
What is going on, mate?
That's the kind of thing you do when you're trying to waste time when you're fucking winning the game. Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, this was it. And it was just, you must think the same thing. Just sitting there and you're just like, you couldn't bear to even look at the screen. It was just painful to look at the screen. I'm just looking at my phone and thinking, half hour's gone. Then I'm going and doing the dishwasher. And I'm thinking, my brother's sitting there, like, just toiling. And I've not heard him say anything. I've not heard anything from the commentary. The games are flat anyway because there's no crowd. I'm just thinking, has anything fucking even happened? Because it weren't like we were getting torn apart. It was just nothing games where we just don't do anything with the ball.
That's what it was. Me and my brother, like, we'd watch the games together, and he'd just be on his phone, like he usually goes on Twitter during football, and I go on WhatsApp with my mates and that. And, like, you just hear him go. Like every now and again, that's all you hear from him, innit? Like, and nothing's happened. It's just the frustration of nothing happening. Like,
it's so bad. Like it was. You just missed, like, even the Wenger days when we would get fucking completely carved up after just passing it around him for an hour. Like, it was tough. But
Rozaki and then kind of days, innit? Like when we were
so blessed.
Yeah.
Well, we've been so blessed with, like, sick players, and then to go down to now having, for a long time this season, the only player who looked techie and looked good was Saka. And, like, yes, I mean, Smith Rowe, he has. I don't know if we still don't know how good the geezer's going to be, but like I say, just a simple thing of him coming in the team and fucking passing and moving has added a hell of a lot, and just added that little gap.
He moves the ball fast, innit? He doesn't just dwell on it, and even if it's a simple 5-yard ball, but at least the game's moving. It's not just fucking stationary like Subbuteo game like table football. It was almost like just, you can only play in those lines sort of thing.
Because the problem is nowadays everyone's so fit, so fucking organised as well. So fit and so organised. Like back in the day, it was like almost like players just allowed the game to be fun to watch. It was a lot more fun to watch because players probably had been out on the piss the night before and like. Someone would all of a sudden, like Henri would just spin past someone. You think this geezer don't even look like a footballer next to him. Like, fuck.
I don't know whether it's just them going out or just how good we once were. That's the thing, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think football in general, you got to think nowadays with the press, like pressing in football, it's sort of like football is a lot more tactical. I think, whereas before it was like when they attack, let them attack. Let them come attack, and then when it's our turn, we go.
Win it back.
No, it was almost like they all had an agreement behind closed doors. We won't work that hard if you don't. And it'd be a lot more enjoyable for everyone, including everyone watching it. Like nowadays, everyone's just scrambling on it, everything like like a fucking military organisation. It's nuts.
The press. That's a good point, actually.
Yeah, the press,
There
man.
was no such
It's
thing as a
long.
press back in the day.
Oh, a press. You're joking. Fucking hell. No,
Right, listen, I'm going to call it now because we've been talking for a while, and
it's been enjoyable, man. It's been a pleasure.
likewise, man. I'm going to go watch the Liverpool Tottenham game. So
Oh shit, yeah, fuck me.
so they'll be kicking off soon. I'm not sure what time, but anyway, listen. Thanks for joining me, and thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe, like, all of that good stuff, and if you want to listen to stuff like this just on audio format, I should look at the camera actually. All the links are at the bottom, so just go wherever and subscribe to the podcast. Cheers, Danny. Thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Pleasure, mate. Anytime, I'll do it again.
Sweet.